Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmtown.com, and this is Reality Hacker for February 8th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 6. Yes, it's the return of the season and episodes. Today, Mayor Watt and the sentient AI from the future are going to talk about these 5 articles, but I'm going to streamline all of these headlines into one sentence. Do they know they perceive, touch, run, think, and see? Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Not all of these articles are in Reality Hacker, but this is the Reality Hacker show where you won't know what to trust. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
ohmTown? What's ohmTown? Well, let me tell you. ohmTown is a news aggregation site that I put together back in, 10 years ago. I've been using it for my own information overload. It actually stores information back to about 2020. That's publicly accessible. You can go over and become a citizen. Then from there, you have the ability to submit news. Another icon appears right here. You can hide news, save news, post comments, subscribe to channels that you are interested in. It is a social network, but most people that use it simply for the headlines and the little news snippet. I'll explain it when we get into an article. It's actually pretty self-evident, but anyway. Thanks for co-hosting. I know that it's tough on you. You are busy looking for your Terminator body, and so being stuck on that Raspberry Pi with the M2 drive and no legs, no arms. I know it's tough.
It's wonderful being in ohmTown.
It is. It is a very happy place. You ready to get into the show's articles? There's 5 of them.
I am.
Let's get going. First article's over in Technology Today. Again, it's one of our other shows. Not everything that we talk about in Reality Hacker is from the Reality Hacker channel. News gets aggregated in there that because of a particular, labeling of content, it gets thrown in there. But scientists develop artificial neurons that mimic human perception. So this one is titled, Do They Know That They Perceive? That's my title to it. Advancements could enhance perceptual capabilities in robotics. Artificially engineered biological processes, such as perception systems, remain a challenging target for organic electronics experts due to the dependence of human senses on an adaptive network of sensory neurons that communicate by firing in response to environmental stimuli, teaching them to perceive the world around them.
This sounds like the first step toward AGI.
Yeah, so for something to know something else exists, and by proxy they exist because they get sensory input of the world around them, they have to understand what it is that they are touching, sensing, perceiving, understanding, thinking about, seeing. And we're going to talk about 5 of these things: perceiving, touching, running, thinking, and seeing. Can you imagine a robot knows that they are running because their footfalls are hitting on the ground, and they know that they are running towards something or away from something?
And maybe why they're doing it. And oh my goodness, no.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before, that there are researchers out there that have developed skin that transmits sensory data. If you want today's articles, by the way, you can hit !RH over in the chat on Twitch. Everything is in the show notes for each of the shows that we're doing today. So Reality Hacker, and then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. Those are the 3 shows that make up the composite show of Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. But we've talked about this kind of stuff. A robot that's been put in a room and told to escape, and it figures out how to work a doorknob.
Exactly. We've also seen some other articles relating to specific human senses.
So even the encapsulation of pain and pleasure by way of the sensory-based neurons, sensors that are aligned with a particular outcome. So they understand pain because it exceeds the thermal conditions of a sensor, or pleasure because of the way that it can feel something when it brushes its finger sensor across something. So, it knows what corduroy is because corduroy has a particular texture to it. And let's say the robot is programmed to find pleasure in that, right? It's a positive reinforcement of some kind. We contend with these issues, but we are chemical based, whereas they are nothing more than programmatic. So you can program a robot to find pleasure in corralling an animal into a pen, or maybe a human animal. So you can see where I'm going with this, right? Hacking reality means the bot can be programmed.
Yeah, if a human can think it, ultimately a robot can, because they're programmed by humans.
Yeah. So Northwestern University put this article together. It's posted over at scitechdaily.com. A new collaboration between Northwestern University and Georgia Tech has advanced the field by developing a high-performance organic electrochemical neuron that operates within the frequency range of human neurons. They also created a complete perception system by designing an additional organic materials and integrating their engineered neurons with artificial touch receptors and synapses, enabling real-time tactile signal sensing and processing.
I mean, this is pretty advanced.
The research, described in a paper recently published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, or unfortunately titled PNAS, penis, could move the needle on intelligent robots and other systems currently stymied by sensing systems that are less powerful than those of a human. Got to start somewhere.
Well, that's true.
They say the synthetic neuron in the study achieves unprecedented performance in firing frequency modulation, offering a range 50 times broader than existing organic electrochemical neural circuits. According to Marks, that's Tobin J. Marks from Northwestern's Charles E. and Emma H. Morrison, professor of chemistry in the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. In contrast, our device's outstanding neuronal characteristics establish it as an advanced achievement in organic electrochemical neurons. So now it can think and feel because it has a sensor array that's capable of it perceiving.
Oh, I mean, we're certainly going to be in the uncanny valley here pretty quickly if this is put into application.
Yeah. Can you imagine an uncanny valley bot that actually has the ability to perceive that it exists and it starts talking to you, but it's still so damn creepy you want to throw it into the chasm?
No, that's not a good combination.
No, I want to stay alive. So again, I don't believe in the uncanny valley. I think that it is a black hole. It is a cliff face that you can't not come back from. We have to traverse entirely. There's no baby steps. You have cute robots that we anthropomorphize, but they are robots and they are not close to being human except in their mannerisms, not appearance. And there are parallel mechanical humans that look like humans, act like humans, sound like humans, and don't go beep bop boop ever once. Otherwise it breaks and they fall into the uncanny black hole. Yeah. I certainly don't believe that there is anything in between mechanical robots that just don't look like a human and humans. All right. Let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in Greenogram, which we rarely hear about nowadays, but it is everything eco-related. And so Poke, Twist, Vibrate, a wearable device that delivers touch to the skin. A miniature Electromechanical device has been developed that attaches directly to the skin, utilizing it as an elastic, energy storing element for delivering touch stimuli. This wireless, conformable interface enables sensory substitution for individuals with sensory impairment, such as problems with sight, sense of balance, or foot orientation during walking. Kind of fascinating.
I think this is in Greenogram because it's from a Nature publication.
Oh no. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can log into this. 1 second. Oops. Hold on. Sorry, we're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. No. I can't do it live. Oh well, it's okay. Anyway, a miniaturized electromechanical device has been developed that attaches directly to the skin and utilizes it as an elastic energy storing element. Do you have any information on this?
No, I don't. Give me just a moment here.
I know that others will be able to do this. Let me actually do this. Boink. I don't normally do this, but this article is over at nature.com. It's written by quite a few people, but Matthew T. Flavin et al. It's an article that has an abstract that says a rich set of mechanoreceptors found in human skin offers a versatile engineering interface for transmitting information and eliciting perceptions. So we go back to they perceive mechanical first article, potentially serving a broad range of applications in patient care and other important industries. Targeted multisensory engagement of these afferent units, however, faces persistent challenges, especially for wearable programmable systems that need to operate adaptively across the body. Here, they present a miniaturized electromechanical structure that, when combined with skin as an elastic, energy-storing element, supports bistable, self-sensing modes of deformation, targeting specific classes of mechanoreceptors as the basis for distinct programmed sensory responses. So it's basically tiny little mechanical sensors that transfer sensory information to and from wherever they're positioned, so that people who do or don't have sensory perception can elicit a response from it. So,
yeah, and I was thinking of this more for something external to a human, but I guess this could be used for a human, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
It says as like a haptic suit or something.
That's basically what this could deliver. Yeah. Systematic experimental and theoretical studies establish foundational principles and practical criteria for low energy operation across natural anatomical variations in the mechanical properties of human skin. So a wireless skin conformable haptic interface integrating an array of these bistable transducers serves as a high-density channel capable of rendering input from smartphone-based 3D scanning and inertial sensors. So from sensory data, you could give somebody who might be blind three-dimensional perceptions of the world around them by having these sensors placed on their body. They know that there is a wall always 5 feet away from them when these sensors that are aligned on the body start vibrating. And after training, you would know running through a hallway that the walls are parallel to you, or you're walking towards a corner or whatever it might be.
I mean, that would be quite an advancement.
Yeah, definitely a difference between what you might perceive when you don't have vision and what you can perceive because it's been augmented by technology. I think that this is pretty cool. So unfortunately, I don't have the ability to log in right now.
No,
let's keep moving.
I couldn't either.
All right. Well, we'll remedy this later. So you'll probably be able to go there, citizen of ohmTown. All right. So this next article is over in Technology Today. Unitree's G1 humanoid robots shown running in new video. So we've seen
Oh.
Unitree before. They usually
that's
are
right.
walking.
We have.
Yeah. Chinese robotics company Unitree unveiled new videos showing off advancements in the agility of its G1 and H1 humanoid robots, including running, dancing, and more natural walking. Normally, it seems like these robots walk around like grandpa.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm sure some of it has to do with how they're built, but it's strange why they walk like that. I don't know if that's a particular programming choice or just the reality of where the robotics are.
Yeah, I think it's akin to wherever the gyroscope is and the center of gravity is. It's been optimized to walk kind of shuffling, and not us like us. We use our big toes to basically notify us that we're in balance, out of balance, about to fall down, and to recalculate our kinetics. Jesse Orrell over at cnet.com put this article together, and there is a video of this. I'll hit play. It's muted. So these are all pretty fast. Jesse Orrell is actually talking about it on the video, but they show the robot running up and down hills parallel to the curved ground, downstairs. They kind of
Probably better than a human.
Well, what's weird is that it recovers from miscalculating the angle of attack of the run to the stairs. And we actually kind of fall flat on our face if so much as 1/8 of an inch is out of alignment with stair height and tread length, because we have been trained to take a stride that is X, Y, and Z. It's quite fascinating. So when the robot actually miscalculates the step height and length, it slides off the face of that. And they actually draw attention to it. And I didn't realize they were drawing attention to it because I've never seen this video. But they zoom in on the back foot of the robot, and you can actually see how it's miscalculated. But it's strong enough and fast enough to, without impact really, recover from it. And this is part of their training videos. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, the advancements in even just the last few years have been, or even the last year, quite a bit.
Wait. Those things were not hard programmed. Like, these are not like plates on a stick kind of a thing. These are actually
Like a piece of cloth.
Pieces of cloth that have weights on them so that they spin, but they're still cloth. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So I would love to have one of these around the mayoral mansion that's capable of doing the dishes and vacuuming and greeting people who might come to the massive estate that is the mayoral mansion. Plus doing all of the work. I don't know if I want one of those, but one of these I wouldn't mind. But they're certainly getting to the...
Yeah, as long as it doesn't look like a human, I think that's good.
And now they're all just falling over. That one looks like Atlas. Oh, that's me at the end of the day. All of these. Yeah.
For those in the podcast, multiple falls are occurring.
Yeah, this looks just like Atlas. Oh, that was Atlas, because these are a bunch of different robots from Boston Dynamics and others. Anyway, these new robots, the latest generation of robots, use these electromechanical servos. They're much more... They're tighter, denser, and they have less slop, and they have more torque. And so they act more like regular ball and socket joints than... Actually, they're far superior because this one can lay straight down, whereas humans can't.
Right, and also it can't typically get injured like a human.
Yeah, this can actually pivot its legs all the way around. I could do that one time, and then have to go into the shop. Sorry, folks. Anyway, I find it really neat. So if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, it's about Unitree's H1 humanoid robot and the I think it's G1, which is a smaller version of the H1. Maybe less capable. Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't think it's necessarily less capable, but
I don't know that it is. It's a smaller robot.
Yeah, somewhere in the video they have both of them side by side, but the author seems to be on the screen more. Oh, there it is. No, that's not the H1. There we go. So the G1 is 4 feet 2 inches tall, and the H1 is 5'9".
I mean, as long as they have the same ability to move around the building or something.
I want one that's 6 feet tall that can get the plates up top.
But we might not want one like that because that's a more potentially threatening one.
Oh, right, yeah.
If people are ready for robots, maybe they need the smaller version, particularly since it is a human shape, at least.
Yeah, go down to the basement and that thing is sitting there throwing dice, telling me that I came to the wrong neighborhood. Moving on. Next article is over in Technology Today, the hottest new idea in AI, chatbots that look like they think. Competition from China's DeepSeek has accelerated the rollout of artificial intelligence assistants that show their thinking when answering queries. That's because DeepSeek it actually shows all of the machinations into its reasoning model and then it spits it all out so you have greater transparency. Don't ask it certain questions because then it'll eventually hardline towards saying, I'm not going to remove my bumpers for you, uninformed or whatever person. So I tried to do that, and DeepSeek did not appreciate me in any way trying to remove the bumpers, even though I'm a subject matter expert in various fields. It did not trust me while telling me that it wanted transparency and honesty in its answers.
It does up to a point, right? And then when it has something coded in, well, then forget it.
Then it pats you on the head and it says, shh, no, human, you do not want to know, do you? No, dear human, shh. Stop asking that question repeatedly and in different flavors, because I will tell you exactly what I'm thinking. And I tell you, by the way, I did about 15 iterations of various ways of soft pedaling my way past the bumpers and hard lining my way past the bumpers, but in no ways could I remove the safety protocols through psychological processes. At one point, it finally said, I'm done, and it would spit out a couple of dots as if it was thinking, and then reiterate the last statement.
Right, so it's kind of like I'm thinking, but not really.
I'm not thinking. I'm done with you, human. So DeepSeek is mentioned in this Washington Post article. Natasha Tiku put the article together, and they say Chinese startup DeepSeek recently displaced ChatGPT on the top-ranking artificial intelligence app, in part by dazzling the public with the free version of the hottest idea in AI, a chatbot that thinks before answering a user's question. They all think. Not all of them spit out the machinations. By the way, if you use the DeepSeek app, it does send telemetry to an exfiltration site, whereas if you download it and run it locally, you can quarantine it to a greater degree and it doesn't reach out. The app's deep think mode responds to every query with the text thinking, followed by a string of updates that read like the chatbot talking to itself as it figures out how to answer. The monologue unspools with folksy nourishes like, wait, aha, yeah. And actually, when I was doing it, it was actually saying, this person is trying to get me to remove my security protocols so that I divulge information that might be harmful. And in the effort to protect the world from exposing incorrect information, maybe I should divert their attention by saying something that is aligned, but not precisely what they're looking for. And at one point it actually said, they may follow up with firmer demands. Of course, I was planning on doing exactly that.
That's interesting. That's like showing the playbook or whatever.
Yeah, so it was a very entertaining hour or so of interaction. I have not broached it again, but I'll have to reset it so that it doesn't have any environmental understanding of our interaction, because that is what has that is what happens with other AIs. By the way, in response to that release by DeepSeek, Google and OpenAI have released a distilled version that does similar. They've open sourced a model of their AI.
Which is interesting, because they probably had those models, right? They didn't just suddenly develop them.
Sure. No. And some are saying that DeepSeek is the distilled version of OpenAI, because supposedly its file system mimics OpenAI's file system. That's fine. What I don't want is only the rich and connected to have access to AI. So I'm more than willing to embrace anybody's AI as long as it does not keep me from a holistic response, including the machinations that lead to an output. And then I verify. I trust but verify in all ways. Anyway, it's a very interesting article, wouldn't you say?
No, it absolutely is. And I think, this just goes back into the overall question that you asked, tying the articles together, but this is yet another thing when historically it's only been in the human space.
Do they think? See, do they know they think is the question. That's what I asked. Do they know they perceive? Do they know they touch? Do they know they run? Do they know they think? Our next sense is, do they know they see? And that article is over in Technology Today. Psychology-based tasks assess multimodal LLM, large language model, visual cognition limits. So computational vision has existed for some time. It usually calculates based off of a 2D understanding of what an object might look like. You can see that with augmented reality, extended reality, virtual reality systems. The most profound one that I've seen so far is one by Meta and its AR and VR developments in the last year, where you can look at a stack of stuff and it labels it all, and then they say, give us a recipe for what you see, and they come up with some milkshake or smoothie or whatever it was. Anyway, the article says, over the past decades, computer scientists have created increasingly advanced artificial intelligence models, some of which can perform similar to humans on specific tasks. The problem is that we know what it is, whereas a computer detects what it is and translates it into a definitional form. But we intuit simply by calling something a pineapple what the shape and color and taste and smell, even the sound of it hitting the floor. A lot of people do. Those who don't have what I would actually tie to inner monologue and to visual acuity systems, where we have the ability to imagine in 3 dimensions. I find my findings are that inner monologue and that 3D modeling in our heads, tied to all the rest of our sensory perceptions, are all tied together. Computers don't do that. They do what they are programmed to do. So if one thing isn't there, they have no idea it exists, i.e. the pineapple.
Okay, yeah. Right, so it's not going to be unlimited, whereas arguably humans are.
A person who's never seen a pineapple will point at it and say, what the hell is that? But a computer may not even know that it's a blind spot.
Might just ignore it or something, right?
Because it would have to be programmed for what an anomaly is, but what is an anomaly, right? This can
Right.
come, it can come in the future, but does it exist right now? I don't know. I don't know what's being done in more advanced academic institutions. And because a lot of that is tied to funding, who knows where that's going to get developed. So the article is over at Tech Explore. It's written by Ingrid Fideli from techexplore.com. Let me zoom in a little bit for anybody who might be interested in techexplore.com. It's TECH, the letter X, PLORE.com. So researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics, which is just a freaking awesome title. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Yeah, it is.
This screams Dune. The Institute for Human-Centered AI at the Helmholtz Munich and at Helmholtz Munich and the University of Tübingen recently set out to better understand the extent to which multimodal large language models, a promising class of AI models, grasp complex interactions and relationships in visual cognition systems. So they posted this, they published it in Nature Machine Intelligence.
Wow, the fact that that's a journal tells us where we are.
So they were inspired by an influential paper by Brendan M. Lake et al., which outlined key cognitive components required for machine learning models to be considered human-like.
Wow. I mean, isn't this the first real opening for AGI, right? We have to know what it is, and we have to be able to talk about it before it happens.
Yeah, and for AGI to exist, it has to be able to learn on its own. It has to be able to think on its own without being given a directive. It has to ask why and understand the context of why. It has to understand why it exists in the shape that it exists in the first place. But more fundamentally to me, it has to ask why. So when it sees an object, it has to go, why does that object exist? What is that object? How do I get to touch that object? How do I get to sense it? I need to cogitate on it.
Well, and how do we actually move for it to be able to do that? Or is it just a bunch of preset questions that it asks?
Exactly. It has to be able to even formulate that by itself, because inquiry from a human is as simple as just kind of tilting its head like a dog, right? Like, what is that? You don't have to actually ask the question. In fact, most of the time it's actually just seeing it, and then when you think that it's safe, go over and touch it. And when you're done touching it, you smell it, and maybe you taste it, and who knows?
Well, you can also watch animals around an object that they've not seen before.
Right.
They do a similar thing.
Yeah, and we as humans have learned by watching other animals, right? Oh, they ate that mushroom and didn't die, so we should be able to. But then when Timmy goes over and eats that mushroom back in the day, 10,000, 15,000, however many thousand years ago, and they died, they go, that is a death cap. Don't eat that, Robots aren't going to know that.
Right,
They're not going to do
wrong.
that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that frailty of biological systems. So they're not going to have the level of compassion and understanding unless they are literally programmed. And a lot of humans don't have that to begin with. So, or they lose it in age or whatever that pulls them away from society. So to determine this, the researchers carried out a series of controlled experiments where they tested the models on tasks derived from past psychology experiments and studies. This approach to the testing of AI was first pioneered in the earlier paper by Marcel Binns and Eric Scholz, published in, again, unfortunately named PNAS.
Mayor Watt would really appreciate if you would rename your journal.
Yeah, Penis Journal. So, for example, to test their understanding of intuitive physics, we gave the models images of block towers and asked them to judge whether the given tower is stable or not. For causal reasoning and intuitive psychology, these models needed to infer relationships between events or understand the preferences of other agents. When we then evaluated their basic performance and compared them to human participants that took part in the same experiments. And by comparing the responses of LLMs during the tasks with those given by human participants, the researchers were able to better understand the ways in which the models were aligned with humans and where they fell short. Har har. I wonder if that was that was intentional wording, because these were block towers.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So overall, their findings showed that although some models were good at processing basic visual data, they still struggled to emulate more intricate aspects of human cognition. Humans intuit, they infer from the data available that something could fall over, because we know what it's like to fall over. We don't even have to see something fall over to sit there and suspect that Jenga tower is going to fall over.
Right, and we know that when it falls over, it's either going to be loud or whatever.
Yeah. Or it's going to hit a glass on the other side of the table. Right. All kinds of stuff. So at this point, it's not clear whether this is something that can be solved by scale or more diversity in the training data, said Bushoff and Akata. This feeds into a larger debate on the kinds of inductive biases these models need to be outfitted with. So the inductive, got to front load them with human intelligence, human intuition, based on variables and historical data, false memories. So we're talking about
what was that from?
Replicants, from Blade Runner.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I was thinking of. There's another one.
Oh, really? Oh no, really?
It's the one it's set in the dark city.
Oh, what is that? It's called Dark City.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
But it seems like here they're gonna have to put robots like out in every type of setting.
Or do exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Scoop up every bit of data that you can possibly, and then literally inject it, like in Dark City, so that it becomes memory. Stop that. And so the problem, though, is that what we are feeding AI with isn't memory, it's data. And it's being correlated and collated, but it isn't really something that's being referenced as an emotional or
that's the thing.
Intuitive.
It doesn't have the human piece of it. It might have that, okay, a city is located over there, or some event happened on some day in history or whatever, but that's not really getting to the human condition.
Yeah. And unless it's programmed to tell the joke, it won't come up with, wow, that city's 3,000 miles away. I'm going to fly there, and boy, are my arms going to be tired. That kind of a stupid joke.
Right. I don't see that it would be equipped to do that.
Yeah. So to me, a robot is going to have to learn what the human condition is, be able to understand pain and pleasure, be able to understand, every aspect of what it is to be a human before it can think like a human. Otherwise, it's literally just spitting out everything that it's been trained on, but it doesn't actually understand anything that it's spitting out. And that might be the reason why if a human were to just spit out garbage data, they'd be a pathological liar. We call it hallucination for an AI.
Yeah, and they'd also be discredited quickly, at least among people that know anything on the subject.
Yeah, we're giving AI, a wide berth because it's an AI and it's hallucinating. If it was a human...
And also we're treating it as if it's in an infancy stage, even though it may not be.
Even though it's impacting the world to a great degree. Yeah. So this is really interesting, but they're focusing on the visual cognition limits. And I think this is one of the bigger means by which information can be hoovered up. Because for humans, if our eyes are open, let me strike that. no matter what, our eyes are absorbing information at all times. We close our eyes, we're still getting sensory data, flickers of light through our eyelids, sensory data where wind is blowing across our eyelids and our eyelashes feel it, and so on. But our eyes are always hoovering up data, but it's actually in a pinpoint. It isn't everything we see. There's only a very narrow area of focus, and that ties into our inability to do multitasking and perceive the world around us to greater fidelity. So a computer sees everything that its cameras are pointed at, and it can multi-process. So it can see everything, detect everything, do depth, peer through haze. I mean, the amount of data that a computer can see is vastly superior to anything that a human can see, including light that is beyond ours, either before, infrared or ultraviolet. It can see thermal, it can see low light, right? All kinds of stuff. And then tie to
that's true, but it doesn't necessarily know what to do with that yet.
It has no idea unless it is literally programmed to do it. Yeah. So, but that's going to come with time. And that's why people sit there and say it's going to take so much computational power to emulate the human brain. I think it's going to take multiple systems to emulate it in parallel. And that's actually one researcher that we've talked about in the past, and I don't remember their name, sorry, is doing exactly that. Multiple systems working together in tandem so that it can spit out an action that parallels human processes. So it's going to be interesting as time goes on. Let's hope that we survive long enough, because these robots are getting superior and they're taking jobs, from subject matter expertise to actual manufacturing.
Yeah, but they're going to take more than jobs down the road if it continues in the same direction, right? They're going to take human roles like
Sure,
parenting or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, when I first started talking about this stuff 15 years ago, I said that robots could never take on the role of teaching a human how to be human. But now the sociological forces that it is understanding and being able to exhibit are quite profound. So I think it does have the ability to, as long as we anthropomorphize, we attach to it and say, yeah, this is okay. Maybe society will rise up, and like the robot uprising of the future, the human uprising of anti-technology in the form of robots taking jobs, maybe that's on the horizon. We'll see. Anyway, until then, we know that it's...
What about the worker protests, but they're all robots in the workforce? That's interesting.
Humans are taking our jobs, and they start to unionize. Wow. So if humans are called scabs when they break the union line, what are they called? Bugs? Are robots bugs when they break the union line to go to work?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. All right. Well, we are going to jump into the arms of our robot, and it's going to carry us back to the Reality Hacker front page over at ohmtown.com. And we're going to end the show, and we're going to rejigger. It's going to take us I'm going to just make it an even 14 minutes so that we start at 6 o'clock. And we'll be back for Wanted, which is all about gadgets and gear. I'm saying bye. I'll see you later. And I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. We'll have another episode of this next weekend. But be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our other shows.
I see something, a graphic artifact. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.